What if the very thing you're doing to hold on to her is the reason she's slipping through your fingers? What if every desperate attempt to keep her close is not love, but a fear disguised as devotion? Most men don't lose women because they're not good enough. They lose them because they refuse to let go. They fix, they plead, they force it, thinking it will make her stay. But what's truly needed, what feels impossible, is the space to let go. And here's the cruel irony. It's when you give her the space she needs to miss you that she begins to remember why she chose you in the first place. The ache in your chest right now, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a test. It's a test of your strength, your independence, your ability to stand tall, even when your heart feels like it's crumbling. Are you the man who shatters when she walks away? Or are you the one who stands strong, grounded, even as the world feels like it's falling apart? Real love doesn't come from clinging, from controlling, from forcing someone to stay. It comes from freedom, from respect, from the space to choose. The boldest act of love is letting go, because when you stop chasing, she begins to choose. And that's when you find out what really matters. The real question is, will you be the man she chooses to come back to? Now here's something that might sting. Why are you holding on to someone who's already let go? You tell yourself it's because you love her, but deep down, you know it's not that simple. The truth is you're terrified of being alone. You cling not out of connection, but out of fear. And when fear drives a relationship, love gets twisted. It becomes desperate, ugly, suffocating. We confuse attachment with intimacy, control with commitment, and we convince ourselves that staying close means loving deeply. But real love isn't born from need. It's born from strength. When you hold on so tightly she can't breathe, it's not affection, it's imprisonment. And here's the painful truth. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They text, they call, they beg, they wait, thinking if they just do one more thing, maybe she'll turn around. But the more you pursue someone who's pulling away, the faster they'll run. It's not a theory, it's basic human nature. We're wired to seek freedom, and women in particular are biologically attuned to assess a man's strength and security. If a man crumbles the moment she pulls away, she doesn't feel safe. She feels trapped. She feels burdened. And that attraction, it vanishes. You might think you're showing how much you care, but what you're really showing is how much you depend on her. There's a world of difference between showing strength and showing need. And here's the irony. When you truly let go, not out of manipulation or game playing, but because you respect both her and yourself, you actually create a reason for her to come back. Why? Because you're not acting out of fear. You're standing tall, grounded in your own value, secure in who you are. Letting go isn't weakness. It's the most courageous act of love. It says, I care for you, but I care for myself too. And that respect for yourself is magnetic. That inner calm, it's leadership. And that's what we all look for, especially in moments of chaos and uncertainty. But if she doesn't come back, that's not failure. That's clarity. It's the truth showing you that you've just stepped out of a relationship that wasn't based on mutual strength or shared vision. Yes, it hurts. The silence is deafening, but it's in that silence that you meet yourself. It's in that space that you realize you were never abandoned. You were simply being asked to become who you were always meant to be. So what's the price of not letting go? It's your dignity. It's your peace. It's your sense of self. Because the more you chase something or someone who doesn't want to be caught, the further you get from who you truly are. And when you lose yourself in someone else, both of you lose. She loses respect for you and you lose your soul. But if you stop, if you pause, even for a moment and say, I am enough, you rise. And when a man rises, not out of rage or revenge, but out of clarity, out of strength, the world takes notice. And so does she. So let me leave you with this. If you love her, let her go. Not as a trick, not as a tactic, but as an act of transformation. If she comes back, it's real. If she doesn't, you've just made space for something far greater than you ever imagined. And here's the truth that hits hard. You don't get the love you chase. You get the love that sees you for who you've become. Why do we fall apart the moment someone pulls away? Why do we crumble so easily when we're met with silence? The truth is, Most men have never built a foundation within themselves. They confuse emotional dependency with love. And here's the hard truth. They don't love her. Not really. They love the illusion of safety she provides. When that illusion fades, their identity crumbles. We've been raised to believe love is easy, that it should come without struggle. But that's a lie. The quality of a relationship is directly linked to your ability to endure hardship, to make difficult choices, to act out love when it hurts the most. Because love without responsibility is just infatuation. And infatuation fades as soon as reality hits. Now listen carefully. You cannot have a strong relationship with someone else if you're at war with yourself. You can't expect her to trust you if you don't even trust yourself. And that's where so many men fail. They never face their own darkness, their own fears. They carry resentment, bitterness, and instead of confronting it, they hide it behind jokes or silence. But you can't love someone else while secretly resenting them for not healing wounds you refuse to face. The truth is, you can't suffocate someone and expect them to love you. And when you let go, you stop suffocating. You start breathing. You start living. And that's when love, real love, has the chance to grow. We walk into relationships with an expectation that the other person will save us, don't we? We hand them our broken pieces, hoping they'll piece us back together. But that's not how it works. No one can fix you, and no one should. The moment you give someone the power to heal your soul, you also give them the power to destroy it. Real growth doesn't happen by changing them. It starts with you. It begins when you can look at yourself and admit, maybe it's not her fault I'm angry. Maybe it's mine. Maybe I haven't been showing up. Have you ever asked yourself that? Are you showing up in the relationship not with grand gestures or surface-level niceties, but with raw honesty, presence, and integrity? Because women can sense authenticity. They can feel when you're not being real, not just in your words, but in your body language, your silence, and your passive aggression. They feel it, and trust erodes like acid. If you want her respect, stop living a lie. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Stop apologizing for things you didn't do just to keep the peace. That silence you hide behind is not peace. It's resentment, and it will destroy you. The truth is, a relationship is not about splitting things 50-50. It's about both people showing up, giving 100% of themselves every day, even when they have nothing left to give. It's standing in the fire with someone, not because it's easy or fun, but because it's the right thing to do. So when the storm hits, don't run, don't collapse, stand firm. And if you can't stand, crawl towards the truth. That's what a man does. That's what earns respect. That's what builds a relationship that doesn't just survive the storm, but becomes stronger because of it. Here's a truth you need to understand, deep in your soul. A man who avoids the storm will never learn how to command the sea, but the man who faces the storm, eyes wide open, becomes the lighthouse others seek in their darkest hour. Why do we hold on to people who have already walked away from us emotionally? Why do we chase something that's already told us in 1,000 ways, I need space? The answer is simple. We're terrified of being alone with ourselves. The silence of solitude forces us to confront everything we've buried, our shame, our fear, our insecurities. Instead of facing that, we chase after someone who's already halfway out the door. We beg, manipulate, overcompensate, and in doing so, we lose the last bit of dignity we have. Let her go, not because you're giving up, but because you're choosing to stand up for yourself. Let her go for your soul, for your future. That's the strength she'll remember. That's the strength that brings them back. When you give her space, you're not punishing her. You're showing her that your identity doesn't vanish when she pulls away. You're proving that you can be whole even when she's not there. That's not weakness, it's maturity. And here's the thing, when you stop chasing, you become magnetic. Most men don't get this because we've been taught that chasing is devotion, that persistence equals love. But sometimes chasing is just fear in disguise. The fear of rejection, of being forgotten, of facing the chaos inside ourselves. And that fear makes us desperate, and desperation is not love. It's a cry for validation. Now imagine the man who takes the hit, feels the pain, and lets her go. Not because he doesn't care, but because he cares enough not to trap her or himself in a prison of control. That man is dangerous. Not in the way you might think, but dangerous to the lies, to the weakness, to the part of him that would rather collapse than grow. When he lets go, he shifts. And if there's real love there, if what you had was real, she'll start to question her absence. But that can't be your focus. Letting go isn't about hoping she'll come back. It's about staying true to who you are, no matter what happens. It's about being so rooted in your integrity that whether she returns or not doesn't change the man you've chosen to become. This is where it gets powerful. When you choose strength over submission, when you choose self-respect over insecurity, you stop being the man she left. You become someone else entirely. Someone grounded, focused, fiercely honest. If she comes back, it won't be because you begged. It'll be because she saw you again, not the desperate version, but the man who's solid, who's found his foundation. That's the paradox of letting go. When you're willing to lose it, you often get it back because you've proven you don't need it to be whole. So next time you feel the urge to chase, to fix, to plead, stop. Take a step back and ask yourself, what kind of man am I becoming? If the answer is one who can't breathe without her, then you've got work to do. Here's the hard truth. The man who can walk away with peace in his chest and purpose in his stride is the one they'll never forget. Why do so many men stay in relationships that drain them of peace, dignity, and purpose, yet call it love? Is it really love? Or is it fear disguised as affection? The fear of starting over, of being alone, of realizing that maybe you've built your life around someone who never truly saw you? Most people aren't in love. They're in patterns. And when those patterns become familiar enough, even misery starts to feel like home. But here's something you need to hear. If you're not respected in your relationship, you're not in a relationship. You're in a psychological prison, negotiating your soul for scraps of attention. You don't realize it, but it happens slowly. One compromise at a time, one silenced truth after another, until you wake up and don't even recognize the man in the mirror anymore. That's the price you pay for staying in weak, unhealthy relationships. You shrink, you betray yourself, and in time, they stop seeing you as someone they admire and start seeing you as someone they can control. People don't love weakness. They may pity it, tolerate it, but they don't desire it. The more you abandon your values to keep the peace, the more chaos you invite into your life. But when you stop pretending, when you stop lying, when you stand up for what's real, the game changes. Truth may shake things up at first, but it's the only thing strong enough to build something worth having. Relationships built on truth will face fires, but if they survive that, they become unbreakable. The paradox is this: only when you're willing to lose someone can you build a connection worth keeping. It's not about control or manipulation. It's about recognizing each other's truth, embracing each other's potential, and standing together facing life's chaos. That's what real love is, built through honesty, growth, and respect. And if you're not in a relationship that calls you to grow, that demands better of you, then it's time to ask yourself, why are you settling for less? Because here's the final truth. The cost of staying small to keep love is losing the man you were born to be. And no one, no relationship is worth that price.